Before we carry on, let's do some further refactoring. I think there are some more opportunities to be had here to do some good refactoring and simplify our code. I'm currently in the shopping cart and I can see an opportunity to simplify our total calculation. At the moment it only applies to a single item, which is not the problem. We will leave that as is. We currently haven't got a unit test for multiple items where we then would need to treat our behavior a bit differently, but right now it works for single item. So that's our item 0. Right, the first problem is a law of Demeter violation, which is our items 0.product.unit price. Why don't we elevate the unit price for the product onto our item? I think that might be a useful thing to do. Let's go and make the appropriate changes. Would like to have something like item 0.unit price. I think that would work. Given that the product lives with the shopping cart item, I would say that it's understood that the unit price for the item here means the product unit price. We have got a compilation error. We don't actually need to write a different unit test. Okay, our unit tests that we've currently got that check the total, they can verify already whether our refactoring is successful. Given that we've got a compilation error, let's go and fix that compilation error and run all of our unit tests to make sure everything is still passing. So we've got a unit price. All right, I'm coming to shopping cart item. And yes, it would be nice to have a unit price here, which we haven't got. So we need another forwarding property. Public decimal unit price goes to product.unit price. Lovely. So we've already got the product name, product.name, and unit price goes to product.unit price. Excellent. So I'm going back to the shopping cart. The code is compiling, and let me just go to the unit tests, and I'm going to run all of these now. And all unit tests are passing, is looking great. All right, back to the shopping cart. I can see another problem here. Item 0.quantity multiplied by items 0.unit price. These are both properties that sit on the item. Why is the shopping cart undertaking this calculation? We're doing something wrong in our code here, our object-oriented code, and we should be passing this calculation off to the shopping cart item. And here is the problem. It's an anti-pattern in programming called feature envy. And it's like this idea where object A accesses internals of object B, here where our shopping cart accesses the internals of shopping cart item to perform the action of multiplying the shopping cart item quantity by the shopping cart item unit price, instead of the shopping cart telling the shopping cart item to undertake this multiplication internally. So it's when object A accesses the internals of object B to perform some action, rather than object A telling object B what to do. Alright, let's go back to Visual Studio. Right, we're back in Visual Studio. Why don't we get the shopping cart item to multiply the item's quantity by the item's unit price? It makes perfect sense. What would we call quantity multiplied by unit price? Let's call that subtotal. So now what it's saying is if we've got any items, then use the first item subtotal, else use 0. We don't have a subtotal on the items yet. Let's go and fix this. Our application at the moment, our program isn't compiling. We've got the unit tests ready to check the total, so we don't really need to do anything further. We just need to make this this code pass again. So I'm going to move back to the shopping cart item. Alright, we're in the shopping cart item class. Let's come in here and create the subtotal, which goes to, we have got the quantity and the unit price here as properties, so let's use these. Quantity multiplied by unit price. Brilliant. So we've got subtotal as a calculated property in the shopping cart item class. And the really useful thing here is that we get a degree of reusability that we didn't have before. when we were calculating the item quantity multiplied by the item unit price, when we used that in the shopping cart to work out the total, that was a single instance where we were doing the calculation, and it was not reusable. We were doing it in place there. However, now that we've extracted the subtotal into our shopping cart item, we have removed the feature envy inside our shopping cart class, but we can also reuse the subtotal that belongs to the shopping cart item again and again in other places wherever such behavior might be of use. Let's move back to the shopping cart, and the compilation error on items 0 subtotal has disappeared. This is looking really good. Let's run all the unit tests and see whether everything is still working. Great. All of our unit tests are passing, which means the code that we've just changed, the refactoring we've undertaken, hasn't broken any of our behavior. Alright, so just to quickly recap what we did in the session, we removed the feature envy, which means a behavior that could be encapsulated in a class and we can just call up on it. We did this with the item subtotal that we created, which was before a calculation of items.quantity multiplied by items.unit price. We've extracted that into a subtotal property, a calculated property on the shopping cart item, and we can now use this in the shopping cart. This is looking really good. Alright, let's move on. In the next video, we'll undertake a few more refactorings. See you shortly.